Welcome, everyone. My name is Adam Greenman. I'm the President and CEO of the Jewish Alliance of Greater Rhode Island. Thank you, cantors Judy Sepulwin, Deborah Johnson, and Brian Mayer, and to David Perlman for that incredibly moving opening. And thank you all for being here, our dignitaries who have joined us, and everyone in our community. Saturday was supposed to be the beginning of a joyous weekend. It was supposed to be a time for celebration, for the harvest, for rain, and for the beginning of the Torah anew. Instead, it was a day of horror, shock, and sadness. As the images of Hamas's terror attacks in Israel flooded our social media and our news, it was clear that this was not like anything we have seen in the recent past. The brutality, the targeting of innocent civilians, the hostage-taking, the barbarism has left me gutted, as I know it has for so many in our community. And when that happens, we come together, to be together, to find comfort in our traditions, in our songs and prayers for peace, and in the words of Torah. We do so with our friends from the Jewish community and beyond, who care deeply about the state of Israel and its citizens, who mourn the loss of all innocent lives taken over the last few days. And we come to stand in solidarity with our community in Israel, to remind everyone that we are united, united with Israel and united for peace. And to that end, we begin tonight's prayer vigil with Sim Shalom. We're very honored to have champions of our Jewish community and champions of Israel in so many of our elected officials here in Rhode Island. And I just want to take a minute to thank all of them who are here with us tonight, those who are here with us on stage and those who are here with us in the crowd. There frankly are so many of you who are supportive of us, and while we wanted to give everybody the opportunity to speak, we decided that we would ask a few of them to speak to remind our community that we are not alone. One of our core values at the Jewish Alliance is Hineni, which we interpret as standing with others so no one stands alone. It's reassuring in moments like this to have people standing with us in our moment of need. And so tonight, we're going to hear first from Senator Reed, followed by Senator Whitehouse, and then Governor McKee.
Good evening. Thank you, Adam, for that kind introduction and for organizing today's event. I am proud to be here to stand in solidarity with Israel and with the Rhode Island Jewish community. I think it's appropriate at this time to just take a moment of silence for those who have perished. Thank you. As we know, the state of Israel is under attack by terrorists from Hamas. By any standard, this is the most serious threat to Israel in 50 years, since the Yom Kippur War in 1973. America stands firmly with Israel, the only democracy. The only democracy in the Middle East, and our partner and our ally through its entire existence. The Biden administration has already acted, promising to send additional munitions and moving an aircraft carrier strike group closer to Israel. Yesterday I spoke at length with Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, and I can assure you that Israel will receive everything it needs to prevail. The last 72 hours have been incredibly difficult, indeed horrific for Israel and the Israeli people. Over 700 people have been killed, mothers and fathers, children, elderly alike, some in their home, in their town. And this also includes 250 people heinously slaughtered at a music festival in the south of Israel. We think and pray today for them and for their loved ones. We have similar hope that this conflict will end quickly and that other nations will not think to exploit this horrible situation any further. I would like to take a moment to think of the innocent civilians that were taken hostages. We hope for their quick and safe return to their families and loved ones. Adam, thank you again for organizing this event to show our solidarity with Israel and to mourn those who have been killed. It is important for all of our elected leaders to stand with Israel. Israel faces many threats in a dangerous part of the world. The United States will continue to stand by Israel through this dark time. We will be there. Thank you.
Adam, let me join Jack in thanking you and the Jewish Alliance for bringing us together here in Rhode Island as the state of Israel faces this horrible moment. For me, coming along Elm Grove Avenue is familiar, safe. My kids grew up just down the street. This was our dog walk. They learned to swim at the JCC pool. And I was thinking as I drove through the fall sunlight, coming down this familiar, safe street, how the feeling of familiarity and safety must be so violently broken for so many in Israel right now. As Jack said, we will be there. We are tracking Rhode Islanders who are in Israel now to make sure that they are safe and that they get the consular and other services that they need. If you are aware of Rhode Islanders who we may not know of, please let us know, and we will make sure that we can do whatever outreach is needed to see to their safety. This is a bad time for a chamber of Congress to be inoperative because they can't figure out who the speaker should be. And I hope that what we've seen in the last 2 days provides a jolt that causes that problem to be solved so that we can get to work. Because there are bipartisan bills that will support our military and support Israel that have moved out of Senator Reid's Appropriations Committee that are awaiting floor action. There is a supplemental bill that Senator Biden has proposed for Ukraine that can be easily amended to provide whatever support Israel needs. We are ready to go when we get back, but we need to have a house that functions. Jewish people know all too well that evil can manifest itself in the world, and it is doing so right now in a really ghastly way. And we need to understand that when evil manifests itself, we are all better off when it's dealt with fast, firmly, and forcefully. In my view, Hamas has forfeited its right to exist. Along with Senator Reid, we will do everything in the Senate that is possible to make sure that the people of Israel know that we stand with them, that the state of Israel has the support it needs militarily, financially, and whatever other manner that we are called upon to provide support, and that this particular episode can end soon. It is really important. So thank you again for bringing us together at this moment, and thank you for including me. And I know we don't want to do recognitions of everybody, but just a quick recognition to our former colleague from the House, David Sheldon.
Good evening, and thank you to the Jewish Alliance of Rhode Island for bringing us together tonight. Adam, it was just a few months ago that we met in the state offices with Judge Leach and talked about anti-Semitism right here in Rhode Island, and talking and reconvene right in this room to talk about making sure that there's no place for hate in Rhode Island. But in our wildest nightmare, I don't believe we could ever have dreamed of what has happened over the last 72 hours in Israel. I want to say loud and clear tonight, Rhode Island stands with the people of Israel and condemns these terrorist attacks by Hamas. And make no mistake, such atrocities are deserving of condemnation worldwide. For the people of Rhode Island, I stand here and offer my deepest condolences to the innocent men, women, and children who have been brutally killed or kidnapped by the Hamas terrorist organization. The images we are seeing on the news are truly unconscionable. Like all of you, we are appalled by these acts of terror. I've received many calls, and we know that families who live in Rhode Island have families and friends who have been impacted by these attacks. We Rhode Islanders are with you and your loved ones. We embrace you. We stand unwavering by your side. Tonight, in a small symbol of solidarity, the State House will be lit up in blue and white. So during this dark hour, we stand with you. We pray with you tonight. But also will echo from our offices here in Rhode Island to the Whitehouse, to our senators, congressmen, swift action, making sure that we keep people safe, and then there is a response, which I say is called for. So we pray with you tonight. Our Jewish neighbors here in Rhode Island will continue to work with the Alliance and the Jewish community to make sure that we're protected here in Rhode Island as well. Our prayers are with you. Thank you all for the invitation to be here tonight.
Frasla na ofek mula nam chachor kaved kol shenevakesh ve'ir b'chalonot ha'erev ol nerotecha groim kol shenevakesh
First, I want to acknowledge and thank the many members of the clergy, both Jewish and non-Jewish clergy, who are here tonight. We greatly appreciate your being here. Second, I just want to say, on a personal note, my heart has been broken for the last few days, but tonight, seeing all of you here, filling this hall, stretching out into the lobby, my heart is full. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Hamas's surprise attack against Israel began in the early hours of Saturday morning. Not only was this Shabbat in Israel, it was also the holy day of Simchat Torah, the day on which we renew the annual cycle of reading the Torah, the day on which we read the last verses of Deuteronomy and then immediately read the first verses of Genesis. Also, this week for Jews around the world, we are in the week of Parshat Bereshit, the Torah's first weekly portion that brings us back to the story of creation. A close reading of the opening verses of Parshat Bereshit shows that God's act of creation was not exactly a creation ex nihilo, creation out of nothing. The text says that when God began to create, Ha'aretz hayta tohu vavohu, the earth was chaos and unformed. God's act of creation was not simply a summoning of the world into existence out of nothingness. Creation is depicted as the process of imposing order, meaning, and moral value to the chaos. God does not just create light, God separates light from darkness and gives them the names of day and night. God calls it good. God does not just wave a magic wand and make earth, sea, and skies appear. God divides them from each other, creates their categories, gives them names, and calls it good. God does not just decree the existence of plants and animals. God places within them the capacity to reproduce in a cycle of life, and God calls it good. To create the world, God gives the world structure, meaning, pattern, and purpose. This gives deeper meaning to the statement in this week's Torah portion that after creating human beings on the sixth day, God commanded them to have dominion over the world and all living things in it, and also that human beings should till and tend the earth. These verses tell us that God made us to help fulfill the divine intention of a world sustained by a vision of order and striving towards what is good. This is our job. This is what we are here for. The most basic purpose of human beings in this world is to be God's partners in turning chaos into order and meaninglessness into meaning. On Saturday, we saw unleashed from the Gaza Strip the advance of the forces of chaos. There's no other way of looking at it. The savage attack against the people of Israel that has already resulted in the loss of more than 1,200 lives in Israel and in Gaza was an act of utter moral depravity and a dive into the abyss of meaninglessness. There's no argument to the contrary. Tragically, Hamas's attack cannot and will not result in anything like peace, stability, or national self-determination for the Palestinian people. There can be no good that will come of it, except for those whose power is enhanced by rising levels of anger and lawlessness. This is why, in a very deep sense, our response to this horrific war cannot simply be to beat back the enemy with superior power and to exact punishment against aggressors. If it were, we would reduce this conflict to the moral significance of a sporting match in which the score is kept by counting the body bags. The task before us is much deeper than that, and it has to be. In the face of those who would reduce the world to the empty and meaningless pursuit of power for the sake of power, through murder, destruction, and escalating levels of anger, we must be the ones who say that we have not forgotten the purpose for which God created us. We will be the ones who assert meaning instead of meaningless, order instead of chaos, morality instead of lawlessness, compassion instead of cruelty, peace and love instead of mindless violence. The journey toward that goal is difficult. Calls for peace and compassion, I know, are not easy to swallow when we are confronted by the murderous cruelty that we've seen in the past few days. And we are indeed obliged to wish success on the battlefield to those who are fighting to defend Israel. We are obliged to support them in any way we can. Yet we also have an obligation to be mindful of the mission to bring order and meaning even to a situation where chaos reigns. Maybe even especially in a situation that seems to be lost to chaos. How do we do that? By acknowledging our pain and not pushing it away. By being sources of comfort to those in distress. By holding the hands of those who are bereaved. By hearing the cries of those awaiting news about loved ones who have been taken captive. By burying our dead in the act that we call chesed shel emet, true loving kindness. By recognizing the horrific pain of mothers and fathers who are watching their children go off to fight yet another war to protect our beleaguered people. By identifying with the unknowable sorrow of those who must send others off to fight. And also by remembering and sympathizing with the hundreds of thousands of innocent people in Gaza who are also victims of Hamas's cruel despotism in the present situation, even if we imagine them as people who do not know their left hand from their right. We are reminded to care about them. That is our job too. We cannot lose sight of this duty. We cannot forget in the midst of our anger and our desire to annihilate the enemy, literally to make them into nothing, that we are here in this world for more than the emptiness of power without compassion and anger without principle. We cannot forget that we are God's partners. We cannot forget to cry tears that do not just taste of bitterness, but also of heartfelt sorrow and of hope. We cannot forget to be human. That is why we are here. This is what we were made for. The world was created by turning chaos and emptiness into order and meaning. And ever since that moment, the forces attempting to turn the world back into its primordial state of tohu vavohu have been hard at work. We will not let them win. We will stand for our people. We will stand for humanity and for all that makes us human. Am Yisrael Chai.
Yasher Koach, Rabbi Goldwasser, thank you so much for helping us find meaning in Torah in these difficult times. And indeed, thank you to all of our clergy who have helped us to make this such a meaningful event tonight. I'm truly grateful for your friendship and your partnership. Of course, while we are all affected by what's happening in Israel right now, one group in our community is feeling this even more. Rhode Island is lucky to have such a vibrant group of Israelis living here in our state. They have deep ties and roots back home in Israel, and I want them all to know that we are here for you now and always. So before we continue and conclude our prayer service, I want to welcome 3 Israelis to share their thoughts with us this evening. Consul General Meron Reuben has been such a friend to Rhode Island in his time serving in that role. He's the 3rd Consul General in my time here at the Alliance, and I can tell you he has spent more time in our state of Rhode Island than any other. And so, Consul General Reuben, please know that we all stand with you and your nation in this difficult moment. We're going to have Consul General Reuben join us up here for a few words, and then we're going to hear from 2 Israelis living in our community Shliach Elihai and Tal Ginsberg.
Thank you, Adam. Good evening, everybody. It's a difficult thing to do. I have come to you from a solidarity encounter on Boston Common with the Jewish leadership and the political leadership of Massachusetts. And I want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, for your solidarity and your participation in this event tonight here in Rhode Island. Also to thank, of course, the leadership from the state, both the senators, the congressman, the governor, who I know very well, and the mayors who I see here, and everybody else. It really is quite incredible that you are here with us on what is a long weekend, and this makes us understand how blessed we are with friends of your caliber, and thank you very much for showing your support. We know that the knowing that your prayers are with us strengthens our resolve and allows us to continue, even though we are broken. And I must admit I am broken. I find it very difficult, though my TV is placed on Israeli stations all day. I don't know whether it makes me even more depressed, but it is something that one has to follow up on. On Saturday, as we know, it wasn't a terrorist attack, it was an act of war. Hundreds, maybe even over 1,000 terrorists charged the fence at a number of locations between Israel and the Gaza Strip. At the same time, a massive rocket barrage of over 3,500 missiles and rockets was launched into Israeli territory, targeting towns and cities in the south, in the center of the country, and even in Jerusalem, with the intent of maximizing harm to civilians. But thanks to the Iron Dome and senators like Senator Whitehouse and Senator Reuben, and the Iron Dome provided safety and backed, and many lives were saved thanks to our collaboration and cooperation with the United States. But the waves of terrorists at our border was unfortunately not stemmed, and so they managed to break through and infiltrate Israeli territory by land, sea, and air. They came on drones and advance into some 22 Israeli towns, villages, and kibbutzim near the Gaza Strip. Now, even though we are in day 3 of the attack, this attack is still ongoing, and the terror cells are still holed up on the Israeli side of the fence, continuing to cause death and mayhem. The picture of what has happened is still not clear, and it won't be clear for some time. But what we do know is that thus far, more than 800 people have been massacred in Israel, more than 2,600 wounded, many of them seriously. And it's also, as you have seen in the press, reported that over 130 people, amongst them elderly, women, children, babies, are classified as missing or captives after being kidnapped and taken to Gaza. And there's reason to believe that these horrific figures will unfortunately continue to rise. The nightmare that Israelis live with every day, terrorists who seek the genocide of the Jewish people lingering just outside the door wanting to come in, has become an acute reality for thousands of families in my country. I can't get out of my head the diabolical pictures of thousands of youngsters dancing the night away at a rave party only for daybreak coming, that turned it into a full-blown massacre with over 260 dead and hundreds wounded. I can't get out of my head the pictures of grannies in their 80s being kidnapped, babies and children separated from their parents and taken at gunpoint, women stripped, being pulled by their hair and paraded in the streets, as well as mutilated bodies being dragged by all kinds of transportation. The barbarity of it all is unfathomable, unconceivable, and is nothing less than a war crime after war crime. On a personal note, my daughter, my 23-year-old daughter, who could have been at a rave party, was called up for military reserve duty, is in a unit that I prefer her not to be in. I don't think she would have to do that job, but she's with people who do the job of going from house to house, sifting through the remains, bringing out the bodies. As I said, the numbers will still continue, and this hits home. It hits home very, very hard. We will act to free the hostages that were kidnapped to the Gaza Strip. And we will do our utmost to damage heavily the terrorist infrastructure to reach a situation so that no terrorist group in Gaza will be able to harm Israeli citizens again. Israel does expect the international community to condemn the terrorist attacks, but we have in the United States such solid support, bipartisan support, even if there is no Speaker of the House, that we definitely feel blessed. We feel blessed with our American allies, and we are happy that we are in the right camp. We know that you express clear support, and we've heard it time and time again, for Israel's complete right to defend itself. And I think that Israel will react resolutely against the terrorist organizations and will do and continue to do all that is necessary to protect its civilians. If anyone has their doubts, the attack over the last few days has revealed the true face of the terror organizations. Bloodthirsty and uncontrollable groups, devoid of any moral inhibitions, who are motivated by hatred, the desire to hurt Israeli citizens in every way, and to bring about the destruction of the state of Israel. Hamas, unfortunately, is not interested in the safety or well-being of the civilians of the Gaza Strip and views them as nothing more than pawns to be exploited in its efforts to harm the citizens of Israel. I don't know whether that's something that should be clapped at. There is something that will need to be done, and not only the show of solidarity in times of distress and times of hurt. We are going into a very long battle. This is not the regular tit-for-tat terrorist attack, if you can call a terrorist attack regular. This is definitely not a regular terrorist attack. It has been a massacre. It is war, ladies and gentlemen. This war will go on for days, for weeks, and maybe for months. The solidarity that you share with us and show with us here this evening is one of the things that we are going to need to continue. It might not be easy. The horrific pictures from the Israeli side might be, and already beginning to be, transposed as more difficult pictures on the Palestinian side. And even though this will happen, we will continue to need your support, however difficult it is, because this time the head of the serpent must be cut off. And we cannot allow the state of Israel to continue under the sword of terror for years and years to come, and the change must come, and it is going to have to come soon. Once again, I want to thank all of you here for coming, for showing up, for showing your solidarity, for being with us. We feel it from the bottom of our heart, and we thank you from the bottom of our heart. Thank you.
My heart is broken. Libi shavur. I live in Ashkelon, and some of my family lives in Rhode. I've been experiencing this conflict non-stop since I was 6 years old, in the first rocket siren in Ashkelon. Since then, I never experienced such atrocities that we experience now. When my grandma's house was completely destroyed by a rocket 2 years ago, I was angry and sad. Those days, I don't know what I'm feeling. On Saturday night, we heard that a rocket fell in my brother's family house in Rhode. And thank God they were celebrating Simchat Torah with the rest of the family in Mitzpe Ramon, not knowing they were saved. They realized there was a war only when my brother and some of my cousins were all called to the reserves in the north and the south. Today, I heard that my sister's-in-law cousin is one of the victims who got murdered. And my best friend's sister is still missing from the party. I don't know what I'm feeling. I'm feeling lost and tired. Sometimes I cry. Then I'm happy that my family is still okay. Then I'm angry, furious even. I'm disappointed. I am shocked. I'm terrified. I don't know what the next few days will look like in Israel. This is only the beginning. But I do know something. I know that I'm strong. I know that you all are here strong. And I know that my brothers and sisters in Israel are all strong. This evening will make us even stronger, and it means so much to our friends and family in Israel. They see the videos, they see the prayers, they see the support, and it means the world to them and to me. We are fighting back with a lot of tears, but we will win this war. I did lose my voice, but I didn't lose my spirit, my ruach, and neither any of you should. We will win this. Thank you for being here.
I don't even know how to start. My body is numb since Saturday. We have family and friends. My husband's family lives in a kibbutz. I did not tell Gaza, which is where everything is happening. And they were in a lockdown. His parents couldn't even go to the reserve because they couldn't leave the house. Now they were evacuated, and the boys, the cousins, stayed in the kibbutz to protect the kibbutz. And one of them is in Gaza, protecting our country. They are literally fighting for their homes. My brother is a reserve, and I can't even explain the worry, the stress, the roller coaster of emotion that we feel. We don't sleep, barely eat. And we need to put a mask on our face when we are with our children, because they don't deserve to understand and to know everything that is happening. The only thing I'm asking for you is just like the Consul said, is when Israel is getting strong, and we are, you need to come to support us. When the horrible pictures from Gaza will start to show, because that's the narrative they want you to see, you need to remember what they did on Saturday. You need to remember they raped women and then killed them and took their clothes off and showed it to the world. You need to remember the 260 bodies in the music festival, and the people were hiding under trucks and behind bushes to try to save themselves. You need to remember when they went through houses in villages in kibbutzim and shot families and threw grenades on their safe rooms. That's what you need to remember, and you need to show it to the world. So you have social media, that's what you need to do. You need to show it to the rest of the world every day until the end of this war. and we will win. We are strong. But we can't be strong without support. We can't be strong without you showing the world what's happening. Am Yisrael Chai.
Our tradition often comes to give us the words to describe that which is hard to give voice to. At a wedding, we have Sheva Brachot, 7 blessings, which we recite to help give shape to that sense of joy. And at funerals, through the mourner's Kaddish and the El Male memorial prayer, those melodies and words give shape to the sadness and loss that we feel. I'm sure many of us have simply said to each other, we don't even know what to say. And so we turn to our Sidurim, we turn to our prayer books, we turn to Tanakh, to the Hebrew Bible, to give shape to the raw feelings which all of us feel so deeply. In just a moment, we'll have a chance to hear several prayers on behalf of the state of Israel, a prayer for the redemption of captives, and a prayer for our soldiers as well. If you know the prayer for the state of Israel, I invite you to recite it with me in the Hebrew, and then I'll recite it in English. Avinu Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'Go'alo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reishit Smichat Geulatenu. Hagen aleha berat chasdecha, ufros aleha sukat shlomecha, ushlach orecha v'amitecha lerasheha, sareha v'yoatzeha, v'takanem beitzah tova milfanecha. Chazek et yidei mibnei eretz kodshenu, v'hanchilei Eloheinu Yeshua, v'ater nitzachon taterem. V'natata shalom ba'aretz, v'simchat olam leyoshveha, v'nomar amen. Avinu Sheba Shamayim, stronghold and redeemer of the people of Israel, bless the state of Israel, the beginning of our redemption. Shield it with your love, spread over it your shelter of peace. Guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Deliver them, crown their efforts with triumph. Bless the land with peace and its inhabitants with lasting joy. And let us all say, Amen.
I see people in the hallway, and if there's any room, if you can come in a little bit more, we can make more room. There's a prayer that is often said in traditional Jewish homes for children, called Beshem Hashem. It invokes the name of 4 angels that will be watching over our children when they sleep. You don't need to know the words to join in with the melody. I invite you to stand close to somebody, but you've already all done that. Nai, 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 comfortable near you. We can all join in a little bit.
Guide,
hatilu mahavat michalti leperas umavet. Hakadosh Baruch Hu yechazek et libam ve'et kasar vidatam ve'et nishbar et yavor sam. Avinu shebashamayim sim shalom haaretz ve'simchat olam lechol yoshveya v'yikuyam banu b'mehera v'yaminu mikra shekatuv v'yashu ish tachat kanfa v'tachat anito v'en machirin kipi Hashem tzvaot tiver v'chen yehi ratzon v'nomar amen. Yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai
מי שברך אבותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שרה רבקה רחל ולאה, הוא יברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל העומדים על משמר ארצנו ביערי אלוהינו מגבול הלבנון ועד מדבר מצרים ומן הים הגדול עד לבוא הערבה ביבשה באוויר ובים. ייתן אדוני את אויבינו הקמים עלינו ניגפים לפניהם. הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמור ויציל את חיילינו מכל צרה וצוקה ומכל נגע ומחלה. וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיהם. ידבר שונאינו תחתיהם ויתנם בחדר ישועה ועדר ניצחון ויקוים בהם הכתוב כי אדוני אלוהיכם ההולך עמכם להילחם לכם עם אויביכם להושיע אתכם ולומר May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, bless the soldiers of Tzahal who stand in protection of our land and our cities. From the border of Lebanon to the Egyptian desert, from the sea, the great sea, to the Arava land, and see. Adonai, give to our enemies to falter and to fail before our soldiers. May the Holy One protect our soldiers from all harm, sorrow, injury that may befall them. And may they be blessed with hatzlacha, with success, with everything that they are charged to do. Our enemies will be trounced by our soldiers' courage and the crown of divine salvation, as it is written in our Torah. Adonai, your God, goes with you in battle to fight your enemies and to bring salvation to you. And once again, V'nomar. Amen.
I cannot read all of the nearly 1,000 names tonight. Some of them we don't even know. But make no mistake, they are etched in our hearts. Let us remember that for each person murdered, there is a name, and parents, and siblings, and grandparents, and friends. For each innocent killed, an entire world has been lost. It is upon us to hold their names and their memories in our hearts. It is upon us to ensure that their memories are a blessing. There will be many funerals, friends, in the days to come, but in this moment, we raise our voices in the words of the mourner's Kaddish, knowing that these ancient words connect us to our Israeli siblings and to Jews across the world. Yit Gadal, V'Yit Kadash, Shmei Rabbah, Ve'alma Divrach Rutei, Ve'amlich Malchutei, V'chayechon Yomechon, V'chayei V'chol Beit Yisrael, V'Agdalah B'zman Kariv Yimru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah V'Barach Ve'olam Amen Alaya. Yitbarach V'Yishtabach V'Yitbar V'Yitromam V'Yitnaseh. V'Yitadar V'Yitaleh V'Yitalal Shmei V'Yishav V'Yichu. Le'elam Min Kol Erchata V'Sherata. Tushbechata V'Nechamata. Da'amiran V'Yalma V'Yimru Amen. Yehi Shmam Rabbah Min Shemaya. V'chaim Aleinu Yal Kol Yisrael V'Yimru Amen. Oseh Shalom V'Rama. V'Yaseh Shalom. Aleinu Yal Kol Yisrael V'Yimru Amen. May the Holy One who creates harmony on high comfort us today and comfort our Israeli friends and family and bring peace as we raise our voices. Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom V'Rama. Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu. Le'al Kol Yisrael. V'Yimru Amen. Oseh Shalom.
Thank you to everyone for your words, for your prayers, and for your songs this evening. Thank you to our elected officials who have joined us, Senator Reed, Senator Whitehouse, Congressman Magaziner, Governor McKee, Consul General Meron, Reuben, to Secretary of State Greg Amore and Treasurer James Diosa, Mayor Brett Smiley. I know I saw Lieutenant Governor Sabina Matos in the crowd, and to all the elected officials who are here with us, thank you. Yesterday we celebrated Simchat Torah, and this week we begin our Torah readings again anew with Bereshit. In the Torah and in our history more broadly, we know that the Jewish people have been tested before. But outside of this building, in our Holocaust Remembrance Garden, there are 3 Hebrew words affixed to the wall. Am Yisrael Chai. The people of Israel live. And while we mourn today, we know that this is one more trial in our long history. The strength of this community, of communities around the world mourning tonight, give me hope. Seeing people stand in solidarity with Israel here tonight and around the world tonight gives me hope. And that word hope is how we're going to conclude this evening. It's fitting that Hatikva, Israel's national anthem, translates to the hope. The hope, what we all know Rhode Island was founded on, the hope of divine providence. So please rise, join us together as we sing Hatikva, and thank you all for joining us tonight, helping us mend our wounds just a little bit. It really means an awful lot to our community. Thank you again, everybody, for coming, for joining with us, for helping us to heal. I hope tonight did for you what it did for me, which is mend my heart just a little bit more. Thank you all, and have a great night.
She's okay. She's okay. She's stressed.
I heard that he's back. I haven't heard back from him, but I heard back from people and saw the report. So, thank goodness he was there. He was saved from the building. It was traumatizing.
I'll give you a hug. Get a hug.
I feel like everybody they say you look so good. I'm so sorry. I know I am. Get that. Perfect time.
we are. Thursday and Friday.
Geared up for the session.
Someday. I got some ideas. We're putting things together.
We're live right now, so see you now. I'm going to try and get you trapped into some sort of nefarious.
Not today. Yeah.
Let's talk before the session. I know I ended up delivering the testimony at the very last minute. Defend the guard legislation. I'd love to have your opinion on it. Which was the defend the guard legislation. I can resend you the details.
All right.
But this was keeping the National Guard out of compliance.
Oh yeah, that was an interesting issue. Yeah.
It's a nationwide effort. So let's talk.
All right.
Yeah. Could be seen. We're live right now, so see you now. You can say all sorts of nefarious things. Good night, Pat. Good night, boss.
I need some excuse.
Secretary.
Take care of yourself.
I haven't given you one of these before. Actually, we live streamed it.
Pat, who was that guy's name? The guy that you were just talking to at the...
Greg Amore said hi.
No, the other guy.
Jason Knight.
Yeah.
Kind of basically good. We're live right now, just you know.
I wanted to at least introduce you.
Jason Knight was the one I said hi.
Absolutely.
He's the rep from Barrington.
I got you, Senator. How are you? I appreciate you doing this.
Didn't want to do it.
It's honestly up to you. I know this is going to start.
No, it's up to you. You're the professional.
You're the real professional, Senator. I think we can do it here. People are going to start heading out. But Brian, can I steal the mic? Sorry. Yeah.
Jump in.
Take you some time.
My name's Pat.
All right. Is everybody else up before we get started?
Yeah. We got a shot? Okay.
Am I doing our best? We're all right. We'll be all right. So, Senator Reid, being on the head of the Senate Arms Chair Committee, you said a lot of powerful words out there, very impactful things. What did the conversations look like between you and the committee in Washington over the past few days?
Well, there's a strong unanimous support for the state of Israel. This was an unprovoked terrorist attack, and we are going to do all we can to support the state of Israel. I spoke yesterday with Secretary Austin, Secretary of Defense. We are moving a carrier battle group into place to support them. We're also providing reinforcements to CENTCOM so that they're capable of reacting. We're going to cooperate with their special operations forces so that if they have to make some tactical raids, particularly to liberate Israeli citizens, we'll at least provide our expertise. But we're there to support whatever they need.
And Senator, we talk about that support. We know the Consul General was saying that this could last days, weeks, maybe even months. Are we there from start to finish to support the Israelis?
We're there from start to finish. This is a democracy in an area that is anti-democratic, to say the least. This is a terrorist attack. So we are in a common struggle against terrorists and also supporting democratic governments. That's what we're doing in the Ukraine. We have to still keep doing that. We also have to be very careful about tipping points where someone else might join the fight. And Hezbollah has thousands of rockets up in Lebanon. We want to make sure that those aren't used. The Iranians are involved to the extent of encouraging this type of action, and also their goal is to disrupt a relationship between Saudi Arabia and Israel. So there's so many different factions and factors going on. But we're clearly going to support the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces. They're very capable. They will provide.
Senator, the Speaker had mentioned something about a relief fund in the works. Do you know anything about that? Can you give us any details on that? Have you heard of that?
There's been some discussion, but no real detail yet. I think the first reaction, obviously, is defeat Hamas, expel them from Israel, prevent them from firing missiles. Those are the first tactical responses that have to be taken. And then, of course, rebuilding those places that have been destroyed. And then also, again, we can't lose sight of trying to find a path to a peaceful, stable Middle East where the Palestinians have a government that is not threatening to Israel and that Israel can live in peace with its neighbors.
Senator Reid, even on a difficult night like tonight, we have to consider politics surrounding us in D.C. The government is in sort of a stalemate position right now without the presence of a House Speaker. Is it possible to move quickly the technical appropriations that might be needed in an emergency like this?
Well, this is where the Senate should move dramatically next week on several fronts. One is moving resources for both Ukraine and for Israel and putting pressure on the House to get organized so they can do the same thing. And also we need to lift these holds on so many military personnel. We are now engaged supporting two allies in two different theaters of war. We can't afford this hold and freeze on military personnel.
And yet at the same time you have this impasse on the elevation of officers.
That's what I just mentioned, that the hold on promotion. And that has to end.
Is there, at this moment, and it's so bleak right now, is there any future immediately to the dual state solution?
We have to, I think, continue to work toward the dual state solution until there is a sense in the Palestinian community, but also the larger community in the Middle East, that there is a functioning, fair, demilitarized government that is working for the Palestinian people. The pressure or the ability of Hamas and other terrorist groups to incite violence will continue to be present. In the long run, this is the solution to the violence.
Thank you. Senator, appreciate your time as always.